In A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle highlights the pervasive nature of complaining and its detrimental effects on our well-being. Complaining, according to Tolle, is more than just expressing dissatisfaction. It is a deeply ingrained habit that prevents us from experiencing the present moment fully. When we complain, we are essentially dwelling on the past, replaying negative experiences and reinforcing a sense of lack or victimhood. This focus on negativity creates a barrier between ourselves and the richness of the present moment. Tolle argues that complaining stems from our identification with the ego, the false sense of self that thrives on negativity and separation. The ego seeks to solidify its existence by finding faults, highlighting problems, and focusing on what is wrong. By constantly pointing out flaws and expressing dissatisfaction, the ego reinforces its own limited perspective and prevents us from accessing the peace and joy that come from being fully present. Moreover, complaining often involves blaming others or external circumstances for our unhappiness. This tendency to blame external factors further strengthens the ego's grip on our perception. When we blame others, we abdicate responsibility for our own emotions and perpetuate a cycle of negativity. In essence, complaining, as described by Tolle, is a self-imposed obstacle to experiencing the fullness of life. By understanding the ego's role in perpetuating complaining, we can begin to break free from this destructive habit and cultivate a more positive and present-centered way of being. To understand why we complain, we must first understand the ego. Tolle describes the ego as a false sense of self, constructed from thoughts, beliefs, and past experiences. It is not who we truly are, but rather a collection of mental constructs that we mistake for our identity. The ego is inherently insecure and seeks to validate itself through external means, constantly seeking approval, recognition, and a sense of superiority. One way the ego seeks to solidify its existence is through complaining. By finding faults and focusing on negativity, the ego creates a sense of separation between ourselves and others, ourselves and the world. This separation reinforces the illusion of individuality, making the ego feel more real and substantial. When we complain, we are essentially feeding the ego's need for validation and strengthening its grip on our perception. Furthermore, the ego thrives on drama and conflict. Complaining provides a steady stream of negativity that the ego can latch onto and use to fuel its own sense of self-importance. When we complain, we are essentially creating a story, a narrative in which we are the protagonist, often cast as a victim of circumstance, or the target of someone else's wrongdoing. By becoming aware of the ego's role in our complaining, we can begin to observe our thoughts and behaviors more objectively. Complaining often goes hand in hand with labeling and resentment, further solidifying the ego's hold on our perception. When we label others negatively, we reduce them to a single characteristic or action, ignoring the complexity and fullness of their being. This labeling creates separation and judgment, reinforcing the ego's illusion of being separate from others. Resentment, on the other hand, is like a poison that we hold on to, hoping that the other person will eventually suffer from it. It is a form of prolonged anger and bitterness that stems from our inability to forgive ourselves or others. Resentment keeps us tethered to the past, replaying hurtful experiences and allowing them to continue to exert power over our present moment. Both labeling and resentment stem from the ego's need to be right and to make others wrong. When we label someone negatively, we are essentially saying that our perspective is the correct one and that the other person is flawed or deficient. This judgment creates a sense of superiority for the ego, further solidifying its sense of self. Section 4. Non-reaction and forgiveness, dissolving the ego's grip. To break free from the ego's grip and its tendency to complain, label and resent, Tolle emphasizes the importance of non-reaction and forgiveness. Non-reaction does not mean suppressing our emotions or pretending that negative situations don't affect us. Instead, it involves becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions, without identifying with them or allowing them to control our behavior. When we are able to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we create space between ourselves and the ego. This space allows us to choose how we respond to situations rather than reacting automatically based on our conditioned patterns. Non-reaction is about cultivating a sense of inner peace and stillness that is not easily disturbed by external circumstances. Forgiveness, according to Tolle, is essential for dissolving the ego's hold on our perception. Forgiveness is not about condoning hurtful actions, but rather about releasing ourselves from the burden of anger, resentment, and the need for revenge. When we forgive, we choose to see beyond the ego's limited perspective and recognize the shared humanity in ourselves and others. Section 5. Practical steps to freedom: recognizing and overcoming ego-driven behaviors. Recognizing and overcoming ego-driven behaviors requires conscious effort and consistent practice. Here are some practical steps to help you on this journey. First, cultivate self-awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and speech patterns. Notice how often you complain, label others, or dwell on resentments. Simply becoming aware of these tendencies is the first step towards changing them. Second, practice gratitude. Shifting your focus to what you are grateful for can help to counteract negativity and reduce the ego's grip. Take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small. Third, challenge your thoughts. When you catch yourself complaining or labeling, ask yourself if these thoughts are truly serving you. Are they based on reality, or are they simply the ego's attempt to assert itself? Fourth, practice non-reaction. When faced with challenging situations, take a moment to pause before reacting. Breathe deeply and observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Choose a response that aligns with your values and promotes peace. Section 6. The power of presence. Transforming individual and collective consciousness. As we become more aware of our ego-driven behaviors and learn to choose presence over negativity, we not only transform our own lives, but also contribute to a shift in collective consciousness. When we break free from the ego's grip, we become more compassionate, understanding, and forgiving individuals. This shift in individual consciousness has a ripple effect, influencing our interactions with others and creating a more harmonious and peaceful world. When we approach others from a place of presence and acceptance, we create space for genuine connection and understanding. Moreover, as more individuals awaken to the illusory nature of the ego and the transformative power of presence, we collectively create a new paradigm for human existence. This new paradigm is characterized by cooperation, compassion, and a deep respect for all beings. Section 7. Conclusion. Embracing a new earth within. Eckhart Tolle's insights into the nature of complaining, labeling, and resentment provide a powerful framework for understanding the ego's role in our lives and the transformative power of presence. By recognizing these ego-driven behaviors and implementing practical steps to overcome them, we can break free from the cycle of negativity and experience the peace, joy, and fulfillment of living in the present moment. As we cultivate self-awareness, gratitude, non-reaction, and forgiveness, we not only heal ourselves, but also contribute to the creation of a more conscious and compassionate world. The choice is ours: to remain trapped in the ego's illusion of separation and negativity, or to embrace the transformative power of presence and create a new earth within ourselves and in the world around us.